Rabbi, where are you going for winter?
Me?
Yeah.
I gotta first make sure everybody's whole and healthy. Then we'll see.
All right. And then what?
I have tickets.
He's happy to just leave the house.
That's true. That is
tickets
true.
to where?
I do have tickets to Florida.
Right,
Whether I take them, I don't know.
So we know what Liner's doing, okay?
Where in Florida?
That we don't know. I don't know anything.
What do you mean? Sviakov has a corner. Like it's a corner of a place to learn where he doesn't see anybody, he hides in the corner. You didn't hear
My backyard?
Oh, by the hotel.
Didn't I meet you once in Boca?
Yep, in Mincha. It was after Mincha once. Sure.
Right. Yeah, it's down in Mincha Meyer over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm putting the show on the road.
All right. Okay, we got to go in the middle of a Hachnasa Sefer Torah Suda, which is winding down, and then my ride is Peretz. So I thought I would do it from the car, which is a good thing because I forgot my iPad, so I don't know how I would even see it in the car. Okay, so heavy duty Korbanos is what we're doing tonight. Yeah. So again, yesterday basically we were saying that the korban Tamid, the Chazara from yesterday is that the korban Tamid was the last thing. On a normal day, all Korbanos had to be brought after the Tamid and before the Tamid in the afternoon. Right? And but except for Pesach, so Pesach, the korban Pesach went after the korban Tamid. So to give more time for the korban Pesach, they moved the korban Tamid time up. On a normal day, korban Tamid was brought 9.5 hours into the day, shechted at 8.5, and then 9.5 into the day was brought. It was, Rashi says it was finished being brought. And on erev Pesach, they moved it up an hour. And erev Pesach, Shechal b'Shabbos, that was the big disagreement with all the different shitas. And then we had erev Pesach that falls on erev Shabbos. Right, erev Pesach falls on erev Shabbos. They moved it all the way back to 6:30. Right, not 6. I mean 6:30. 6.5 hours into the day, which is a half hour after chataas. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to have a Machlokes exactly what the order was. Tana Rabbanon, can you hear me, or is there too much background noise? Should I go someplace else? Can the Olam hear me?
You're good.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Okay, so Tana Rabbanon, Tamid koydem lePesach. The second line up from the bottom on Nun Chesam Beis. So Tana Rabbanon, Tamid koydem lePesach. The korban Tamid comes before the Pesach. Let's keep the order in mind because there's going to be a disagreement. We don't paskin this way. We don't paskin according to this sheet. We paskin again according to the other sheet. So Tamid is before the korban Pesach that we learned yesterday, and then the Pesach is koydem the ketores, and ketores kedemes leneris, meaning the menora they did the last. Again, so the order was Tamid, korban Pesach, ketores, which is the incense, and then after that came the neris Hanukkah. So
this is ketores shel ben arbaim, correct? There's two ketores.
Yes, ketores shel ben arbaim. Yeah, the ketores that we don't understand why we don't have to say it before mincha, right? That ketores, right? Why we only do it by shachris. And
I actually did. It's actually interesting. The ketores of the ben arbaim probably is the more important one because that's the one that's mechanech the Mishnah Menachos says that's the more important one.
Yeah, so you're sending the kasha.
No, right. Yeah. So it's interesting, right? Why we wouldn't say about mincha? It's the one that matters more.
Yeah. So I don't know. And all I know is that after discussing that, we have to say the Tamid. Today was the first day I didn't say the Tamid till mincha time. I don't even know in years maybe that I forgot to say the korban Tamid this morning. So I don't know exactly what that omen was what it's all about. But yeah. Anyways. So what's the pshat? So why is it in this order? So you ucher davar shenamar be'erev ubein arbaim l'davar shalai nemar be'erev ela bein arbaim. Meaning, there's two things. Rashi says there's two things that the pasuk says. It says in the evening and bein arbaim. So if it says both, though whatever it says both be'erev and bein arbaim, that obviously should be done later. But if it only says bein arbaim, not be'erev, then you would not. So the Gemara says, okay, so again, the thing that says be'erev and bein arbaim should come later. So ihachi ketores v'neiros nami nikdemu Pesach. So if that's the case, then ketores and neiros should also come before Pesach, right? Because by ketores and neiros it says one bein harabayim. Yeah. So Gemara says yuchad davar shenamay be'erev bein harabayim davar shalayna harabayim bein harabayim bavad. It's something that says be'erev and bein harabayim should be pushed off to later that it only says bein harabayim. So our answer shani yasim demir rachmana oisai. No, by Pesach it says oisai the tani me'erev vad biker 10 lam midasa shetedelekas me'erev ad biker. I'm sorry, not it says oisai by the menora. Me'erev the tani me'erev ad biker 10 lam midasa shetedelekas me'erev ad biker. You should put in enough oil that it goes from the evening until the morning, right? So Mamela, you can't start anything after that. So therefore, the neiros goes last. Davar acher ein lecha avoda sheksher me'erev ad biker ela zu bavad. There's only one avoda that's kosher from the night until the morning, and that is the menora. My timer. Why is that? Amakra yarech oisei Aaron above me'erev ad biker. You should Aaron and Bonov should set it up from the evening until the morning. Oisei me'erev ad biker vein davar acher me'erev ad biker. Only the menora should go from erev ad biker, and nothing else should go from erev ad biker. And we make it so then where does ketores come from? Why is ketores after? I mean, we understand why menora is last. Why is ketores come also after the tamid? So that's a hekesh between ketores leneris. Yeah. Now, what makes you give the right to make that hekesh? I'm not exactly sure. Why can't you make a hekesh from anything to anything, right? Okay, but Rashi says that it's just neiros. There's no avodah kosher afterwards. So ketores also there's no avodah kosher afterwards. The Tanya, okay, so that's one shot. Okay, again that the order was Tamid, Pesach, ketores, neiros, the Tanya Kikushyan, and then we have a brisa that says like our kasha, and this is the way the Rambam paskins. But as we know, there's no Shulchan Aruch on any of this because Shulchan Aruch is only for halacha that's negeya to bizman hazeh. And this is not negay bizman hazeh, so that's why it's only the Rambam. Yeah, the Tanya Kikushyan, and we have
Does the Aruch HaShulchan have this?
No, there's a regular Aruch HaShulchan that doesn't.
No, but he wrote the Aruch HaShulchan.
Lawson, there are Aruch HaShulchan Lawson, yeah.
There's Aruch HaShulchan Asid. That's not by the Aruch HaShulchan that has. Yeah, the Aruch HaShulchan Asid, but the regular Aruch HaShulchan does not have. Yeah. So anyway, so the Rambam paskins like this version. Betanya Kikushim, we have a brisa like this kasha. Tamid kaidem leketores. The Tamid comes before the ketores. Ketores kademis leneiros. Veneiros kademis lepesach. Right. So again, here this order is Tamid, ketores, neiros, and then korban Pesach. Pesach comes last. Yochad davar shenamay be'erev uvein arbaim ledavar shalayna arbaim ela bein arbaim bavad. Right, so that was the Gemara's kasha before, and we answered oisai. So here we're saying like this brisa is like the kasha. It does the order the way the Gemara asked the kasha before. But then v'haksiv oisai. So how do we answer the Gemara's kasha before? We said it says oisai by menora, so that's why it comes last. So what are you going to do with it now? Now that you're not putting menora last, what do you do with the word oisai? It comes to exclude the avodah that goes on inside the Beis Hamikdash. Mind you, ketores. What avodah goes on inside the Beis Hamikdash? Ketores. Sagadai the chamina. You would have thought hoyel v'ksiva v'halos aron nesaneres ben arbaim yakterena. It says when they lit the menora, v'halos aron nesaneres ben harabayim yakterena. So Ema Nadlik Neris Beresha Vahadar Nakta Ketores. So you would think, well, the order is Neris and then Ketores. So you would think, okay, so light the menorah first and then the Ketores. Miyad Rahmana Aisai. So therefore the Torah says Aisai. Yeah, so they have to tell you no. The menorah goes after. Ella Ben Arbaim Yaktirena Lamali. So what do you need Ben Arbaim Yaktirena? What's that pasuk coming to tell you? At the time that you're lighting the menorah, the ketores should already have been brought. Right? Rashi says, "Kivar tehema ketores." It should already been brought. So therefore the ketores comes before the menorah.
So then we're using both really to say that it should come first. we're using Oisoy and Bein Arbaim Yakdirena. Do they go hand in hand? Meaning, are they mashma from each other? This whole, it's really one meat as it comes out. It's all coming to tell you the same thing.
And Kohanim, right? Yeah, that's what it seems. That's what it seems. Yeah, I mean, why can't you say it the opposite? That's really what you want. That's really you're asking.
No, I was just saying, like, no. It's mashma. It's mashma. It's not from Oisoy. It wouldn't be mashma. That meaning, I guess you need both really to bring out that point.
Right.
Bein Arbaim Yakdirena wouldn't be enough if it weren't for Oisoy.
Correct. And Kohanim. I mean, yeah. So you're saying you do need both.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not like two different miyutim. They're coming to bring out the same point.
Right. And Kohanim. Right. That's a good point. Good point. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Weiter. Tana Rabbanan. Now we're gonna for Rabbanan. Right. I'm saying this is. Well, I already have a preview for Rabbaran's kashas from this morning already on this Gemara. But now the Gemara is going to say some rules that apply to kodshim, and like everything else, all rules are meant to be broken. So we're going to have that a few times now, right? With this Gemara. So Tana Rabbanan, ein lecha davar shekoydem letamid shel shachar. Nothing goes before the tamid shel shachar. Ela ketores bilvad. Only the ketores. Shenemar ba. It says by it babayker. It says babayker twice. V'yuktum ketores. And you make the ketores first. Davar shenemar by babayker. And tichsiv v'hikter olav aron ketores samem babayker. So something that it says babayker twice. Davar shaloi nemar by ela babayker echad. So you're going to say something that says babayker twice is going to be earlier than something that only says babayker once. Ve'en lecha davar shemisakiv acher tamid shel bein arbaim ela ketores v'neiros uPesach umechusar Kippurim. And there's nothing that you're allowed to bring after the korban tamid, right? Nothing. But then we go through a list of 4 things: ketores, the menora, korban Pesach, and mechusar Kippurim erev Pesach shetovel shenis v'oicheles pischei erev. So mechusar Kippurim has to bring what the way mechusar Kippurim is that first he tovels, then he brings Korbanos, and then he has to tovel again. So if you have somebody who's a mechusar Kippurim on erev Pesach, so we don't want him to lose out. We don't want him to lose out on bringing makadik. We don't want him to go to Pesach Sheni, even though Pesach Sheni is an opportunity. So therefore, since he's mechusar Kippurim, we're going to let him bring. They're going to be makrib the Korbanos after the korban tamid. So that's another exclusion. Yeah. So Rabbi Shmuel ben Eish Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroika Aimer, he says ach mechusar Kippurim b'shayim as a shana shatav v'oichel b'kodshim le'erev. He says now he's more mekel. He says every day a mechusar Kippurim is allowed to have his Korbanos brought onto the mezbeach even after the tamid shel bein arbaim, because we want him to be able to get out of his tumah. So Bishlam. So again, so we have a Machlokes Tanakama and Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroika whether a mechusar Kippurim can bring his korban after the korban tamid shel bein arbaim. So the Tanakama holds only on erev Pesach, and Rabbi Yochanan ben Beroika says he could do it every day. So the Gemara is going to have a shaka tie back and forth. Bishlam the Tanakama. So it's good according to the Tanakama. Yovay asay the Pesach sheyesh by korban. So the mitzvah asay of bring makriv a korban Pesach, and if you're not makriv it, then it's a chiyav koros. B'yitcha asay the she'ain by koros, and the mitzvah asay of hashlama. Hashlama is a code word for that. The tamid shel bein arbaim should be mashlim the korbanos of the day. So that's also mitzvah asay, but it doesn't have koros. So obviously, we want a guy to bring his korban Pesach, which is an essay that has koros in it. So it'll be daichel the mitzvah say that the korban tamid should be the last korban of the day. Yeah, go ahead.
Why would the guy Khalila be chayiv koros? He can't bring his korban. He's not chayiv koros. Why would he be chayiv koros?
Right, very good. That's it. That's good. Yeah, I hear that kasha. He was asking. He's not chayiv koros. He's tamei. He's not chayiv koros.
Yeah, so he can't bring the korban. No, so he's pata.
Right. So I think what it means is that it's a more choshev asay, meaning you got 2 assays to do.
But you're telling me the pasuk is telling you the tamid is the last thing. A pasuk from God, the tamid is the last thing. Oh, you feel, boy, this guy Nebuch is a Nebuch, so we're gonna let him go. No.
Right. So we're saying so.
So Naftali let all the Hatzalah guys will go. And all the neurosurgeons will go, well, this guy's special because he did an Aveira and he needs our shlama.
Right.
No, Tony was delivering a baby for somebody, so you should be able to go also, no?
Correct. I hear it's a good timer, but in Mastama, what it means is that the essay, there's two mitzvahs essays. You're going to nix one of them, so you might as well nix the one that doesn't have chorus and do the one that does have, even though it doesn't have chorus. Right? I thought you were going to ask a different kasha. Tois's kasha. Tois has the gishmaka kasha. When you're being oiker the mitzvahs essay, are you getting the mitzvah to korban Pesach? No, that's a night. Meaning, in order for an essay to be doicha loisa, it has to come at the same time. Even if it's an assay being doicha an assay, which we're doing here, but it's not happening at the same time, right? Meaning, you're being doicha mitzvahs assay, and then 2 hours later you're going to eat the afikomen or the korban Pesach, right? Okay, whatever. That's Tosis kasha.
Tiago, who says that in such a scenario where a person should have, I think we're talking about a case where a person should have already brought his korban and he forgot to. Who said in such a case that a person's going to be able to be qualify for korban Pesach Sheni? He should have brought. We're not talking about a person. We're not talking about a person that didn't have the ability to do it. He could have brought his korban all those other hours and been able to bring the Pesach.
No,
Wasn't
he could have. He had the whole erev Pesach to bring it. He missed out.
No, I don't think so. He wasn't allowed to. He's a mechusar.
Why wasn't he allowed to?
Because he has to wait till Lila. His korban has to be brought later.
He was toivel already b'shvi.
No,
this is the next day.
No, but he needs to be toivel twice, right?
But he could have brought. He could have brought his. I know he could have been toivel, but he could have brought his korban. I don't
think so.
1 second, he's bringing his korban. He had to have. He's bringing his korban that day.
Right. It says shashok. Right. Rashi says shashokah. So
it has to be. It's the same day. It's not like it matters how many hours you wait during the day. It's the same day. If it works later in the day, it works earlier in the day. It's the same day we're talking about. He's not bringing it the next night. He's bringing it that day.
Yeah.
So
you're
right. obviously, he made a mistake and didn't bring it on time.
You're right.
In such a scenario, who said?
Right. I was mixing it up with a different case. So, but there's something right. But that Rashi says something else, Taka. Rabbaran, what he's saying that Rashi says the chorus is that a mechusar Kippurim would eat if a mechusar Kippurim eats a korban Pesach, it's a chi of chorus. Right? So I don't know why we would assume that the guy is going to eat it. But yeah. Okay, whatever it is, but that's the pshat. We're just saying that one goes before the other. So Tosfos has an interesting teretz though. He says, "Essay doicha loisa said," then it has to be at the same time. And asay being doicha another asay does not have to be at the same time, right? Whatever the lumdus is behind that, right? Okay, so let's see. Right. So now the Gemara asks, so bishlama l'tanakama yavay asay the Pesach sheish bekoros v'yitcha asay the ashlama she'ein bekoros. Right, so it should the assay of Pesach that has in it chorus should be doicha the essay of Hashlama that doesn't have chorus. El Rabbi Shmuel ben Rabbi Yochanan ben Broika, right? That he says that every day you can mechusar Kippurim can bring the Korbanos. My ulmei the hayasay mehayasay. Why are you pushing off one mitzvah assay of mechusar Kippurim? Why should he push off the assay of Hashlama? That the last thing to be brought is korban tamid. Some Ravina Amar Rav Chisda hacha bechatas haof askinon. We're talking about chataas haof, she'ein mezbeach eladoma. Chataas haof, nothing goes on the mezbeach, only the blood. Right? The chataas haof does not get brought on the mezbeach. So the Gemara says, so then for that, that's nothing going on the mezbeach after the korban tamid, just the blood. Rapapa Amar afilu tem b'chatas behema. Now you could even say chataas behema, which does go on the mezbeach. Maila umilina b'rosh hashem mezbeach. What they do is they bring it up and they leave it on the mezbeach, but they don't burn it. We'll get to the Gemara is going to ask on this on Amud base, because there's a din. The Gemara in Zvachim says that you're not over. There's an isser to leave over Korbanos a whole night, right? So then what's the problem? What are you going to do? You can't burn it now because it's after the korban tamid. You can't leave it overnight because there's an isser lina. But the Gemara says as long as the meat is put on top of the mezbeach, then there's no isser overnight. So what they do is they would put the meat on top of the mezbeach, but they wouldn't burn it till the next day after the next morning's korban tamid, and then everybody's happy. Right? So Gemara says, Va'ika Asham, but there's also an Asham of Metzora. right? And the asham can't come from an oif. So Bishlam al Rav Papa hanu tamalala. So Rav Papa's answer works because he says, yeah, in a chanami, it could be an animal. You put the meat up on top of the mezbeach, and you don't burn it on top of the mezbeach. Elo Rav Chisda ma'ikil maybe, but according to Rav Chisda, who says that it was an oif, you have to have an animal here. So Amri Shekarav Ash, meaning sometimes you have options for a Metzora. If you're poor, you can do birds, which is cheaper than bringing animals. If you're wealthy, you can bring more. So, but Lamai said at the end of the day, it has to be an animal. So Amri Shekarav Ashma. So we're talking about where you're ready was Makriv the Asham. Right? So it says Vayika Olah. So if you're gonna, but there's still an Olah. It's a Vachitema Olah Loy Ma'akv. And if you can say an Olah is not Ma'akv, no, just like the korban chataas in the asham on ma'akiv, meaning it has to bring it. So too, the olah also is ma'akiv. It's okay, so maybe they already brought the olah and he didn't bring the chataas. So me korban olah kodem l'chataas. Rishon, can you bring the korban olah before the korban chataas first? For Tanya v'ikrim is asham l'chataas. Rishona. It says you should bring the asham, the vekrives asher lechatos rishona. You bring with the chatos first. What's it coming to tell you? If it's coming to tell you that the korban chatos comes before the olah, it says the second thing should be done is the olah. Every time you have to bring a korban chatos and an olah, korban chatos comes first. Boys, I'm sorry. The whole I stopped short. The whole chatas you call the whole oil supposed in one. Anytime you bring a korban chatas and a korban oil, the korban chatas comes first. The time
but they're ma'akiv. Lav dafka if they're ma'akiv that you have to bring it first. Other korbanos, if you bring musafin, they don't have, the korban chatas is not ma'akiv the oil.
Assuming that they're not going to let you bring it.
In a chanami, but it's not ma'akiv it that you can't be yotze.
No, in a chanami, but to give it.
We're talking about be yotze here.
Right, but to give an answer that it's talking about where you went out of order, I think that's fair to say that would be the pshat.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know that it's shaykh to say such a pshat. The original brisa was about which ones come after the Tamid. You can't say that this korban comes after. In such a case, then maybe yeah. It was a klal that these comes after the Tamid.
I hear. Very good. Very good. So b'kaimelon afilu chatas haof kodemes loylas behema. Even a chatas haof, which is less chashuv than a behema, still comes before kodemes loylas behema. Even comes before an oilas behema. So now we're back to square one. What's the pshat? What is the case of mechusar Kippurim? So Amarava Shani oilas Metzora. No, oilas Metzora is different. The oil of a Metzora is different. The Rahman Omar now we're on Tamid base. The Torah says, "Vehela hakohen es ha'olah." The kohen brings up the olah. Shehela kvar. It means that it was already brought. Yeah. So meaning by Metzora, it is the olah can be brought before the chataas. Some of the Rav Shimon bar Abba, the Rav Papa lidachta Amar Ma'ilo Melina b'Rosh Hashem mezbeach. Kaimen v'avdinan milsa leKohanim da'asu takala. Right. Meaning, so according to Rav Papa, what do you say? You bring up the fats and the basar, and you put it on top of the mezbeach, but you're not going to be makriv until the next day. So he's saying the Kohanim might not be aware of this, and they may say, "Oh, there's some extra meat here on the mezbeach," and they're going to burn it, and then that's a problem. They're going to over on an asay. Yeah, again. So Amar Le Rav Shimon bar Abba Rav Papa lidachta Amar Ma'ilo Umelina b'Rosh Hashem mezbeach. We put it up to the mezbeach. Avdinan milsa leKohanim da'asu b'alidei takala. Right, that's going to come bring the takala. They're going to end up messing up the kohen. The sabri diyamehu. They're going to think it's that day's korbanos. Also lakture, and they're going to come to me makture. Amalei, so he answered Kohanim's reason. Hey, no, we're not worried about that because Kohanim's reason. So they're going to know before they burn the meat. They're going to say, 1 second, when is this meat from? And then they'll find out that it was a mechusar Kippurim's meat, and it came later, and it's not supposed to be burned till tomorrow. So Amar le Rav Ashi le Rav Kahana v'Amri le Rav Huna Brei Rav Nasan le Rav Papa v'Kama d'Lei Miskatri Amur and Kohanim le Matzu Achli Basar. But what did the Kohanim have to eat the meat that night? And if you didn't bring up the fats, then Kohanim are not allowed to eat the basar. So how does and right? And then we're going to see what the problem is. So what? So the Kohanim can eat the basar. We'll get to that in a minute. But again, if you're not makar of the fats, then the Kohanim can eat the basar. The Tanya Yochel Yokanim Rishonim because of a shoy koydem haktoras emun. You would think that the Kohanim would be allowed to eat the shoulder and the thigh before they brought the emur. It says the kohen brings the chaylev on the mezbeach, and then it says the chazak goes down the bottom. The comment, so what? So good, so the Kohanim can eat it. No, the Kohanim lo yachli basar bailam lo mischapri. And if the Kohanim have not eaten the basar yet, there's no kapara for the person that brought the korban. The Tanya of achlu oisam asher kupa behem. We learn out that the Kohanim have to eat, and then the owners get a kapara. Isn't that a gavaldic thing for a kohen land out? Look at that. And if you don't eat a barbecue, these guys are not getting a talk about holding something over their heads. You know, right? And we make the barbecue. If we don't make the barbecue, you don't get a kapara, right? So bottom line is, how's he getting the kapara if they're putting it up onto the mezbeach according to Rav Papa and they're not burning it till the next day? That means the Kohanim can't eat the meat. If the Kohanim don't eat the meat, so then the mechusar Kippurim doesn't have a kapara. So I'm relay efshar asam k'moshe nitmu oisha avdu. No, since it's not possible to do it because you're not allowed to burn it, the emurim after the korban tamid. So then it says if the korban became tamei or it got lost, the Tanya Yachol Nitmu Emurin Ish Avdu, you would think that if the Emurim become tamei, or if they get lost, you would think that the Kohanim would not be able to eat the chaza and shaik. It means wherever it is, however the Kohanim get it, they get it. Meaning, and if there's a korban that they were involved in and they're getting ready to eat the chaza and the shaik, and they're getting ready to start a barbecue, and then somebody tells them, we just lost the korban, we don't know where it is, so we don't know if we were makar of it, still the Kohanim are allowed to eat the chaza and shaik. So this is going to be no different than that. Okay.
How can you possibly, I'm not upset, I don't understand, I don't see how you could possibly understand this.
I cannot disagree with you on that, but okay, well, what's bothering you?
It's the same thing, Yaakov.
Meaning, how do you, if it got lost, it got lost.
Yeah.
If it got lost, so you lost out, so you get the next korban, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just assuming that there has to be a seder advarim. How much tircha can you make somebody do if the korban got lost, and now you got to make the guy bring another one? I don't know, but I don't really have shot. Yeah. Okay, Rav Kahana. Now the Gemara asks two steers. Rav Kahana Rami. Rav Kahana says a steer. It says don't leave over the fats until the morning. Ad boiker hu lo yolin, but you can't leave it over till the morning. Hakol alayla kula yolin, but the whole night you could. Meaning, if you want to have a midnight snack, that's fine, as long as you don't leave over the meats, right? The entire night, not on the mezbeach. Fine, so that's one pasuk. You have to bring makar on it, the fats of the shlamim. On it, you have to be mashlim all the korbanos. Meaning, so it has to be done by after the Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim, by around the Tamid Shel Ben Arbayim. That's when it has to be done, because v'hiktir oleha chel v'yashlamim oleha hashlim kol hakorbanos kulan. So again, one pasuk says you can leave it over the whole night, just not until alois hashachar. It's got to be consumed before alois hashachar or burned before alois hashachar, right? But then the pasuk says you have to do it with the korban tamid in the evening. So whom ma'asav lav whom befarak la. He asks and he answers la k'sheni taisru. No, that's when it was left over. Yeah, meaning the korbanos were sprinkled, the blood was sprinkled on the mezbeach before the tamid, but they didn't have enough time to get it in there before the tamid. Yeah, so since they were right to be brought before the korban tamid, therefore you are allowed to. So now it's another exclusion. We're saying there's another one where you are allowed to be makar of the korban after the korban tamid, which is when they already sprinkled the blood on the mezbeach, but they didn't have time to be makar of it. So that also, in that scenario, you also could bring it after the korban tamid.
Rashi says earlier that's what the Kohanim would have made a mistake with, because otherwise, what would they be burning besides for what would they be burning after Tavis of That they make a mistake. Right? Why would they be burning anything? They shouldn't be burning any Korbanos after Tavis of She says that has to be the Nitaisu.
Yeah, right. And Hanami, but that's another exclusion to this rule, right?
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. That's the late arriving Korbanos. That's what it is. Fine. Okay, that's one steer. Rami le Rav Safra le Rav. Rav Safra has the steer to Rav. It says don't leave over the korban Pesach. Don't leave it over till the morning, but the whole night you could leave it over. Then it says olah Shabbos b'Shabbatay. It says you bring the korban olah of Shabbos on Shabbos. V'loy olah schol b'Shabbos. V'loy olah schol b'Yom Tiv. And you're not allowed to bring the olah of a chol b'Shabbos and not an olah schol b'Yom Tiv. So you see that it has to be all done before Yom Tiv, right? Even though it's a weekday, so it's mashma that if it's a weekday korban, you're not allowed to burn it a whole night. It has to be brought. It has to be finished being burned, yeah, and it has to be finished being burned before Yom Tiv. Now the korban Pesach is a chol Yom Tiv. I'm sorry, it's a chol yom. It's a chol korban. You brought it on during the weekday. So how can you leave it over to burn it on Yom Tif? So I'm like, Rav Abba Bar Chiyah Rav Abo. Rav Abba Bar Chiyah already asked this question, and he answered, I know we're talking about erev Pesach that follows on Shabbos. Like this year, the chel be Shabbos craven be Yom Tif, because the chel of Shabbos is allowed to be brought on Yom Tif. Right, but if it would be a regular year, then in a chanami you cannot leave it over till the morning. You have to burn it before Yom Tif starts. So I'm relating the chelve Shabbos craven be Yom Tif, because we hold that the chelev of Shabbos can be brought on Yom Tif. Anan neku v'nemalei the high krab arba asur shechaliyos b'Shabbos udivsiv. Because you have this din, we have to say that this pasuk that says that you have to burn the korbanos has to be done by the time Yom Tif starts is talking about when. I'm sorry that you can eat the korban the whole night till the biker. The korban Pesach is talking about a specific case of erev Pesach shechal b'Shabbos. That's how far you're going to go to explain this pasuk. Leave the pasuk alone. It's a daichik, right? And you have to say that that's pshat in the pasuk. Yes, that's the way you have to say pshat, even though it's a daichik to say that that's the case. That the case that the pasuk saying that you're allowed to leave it over is only on the case of erev Pesach that falls out on Shabbos, but on regular erev Pesach you have to burn it already by the end of Yom Tif. Yes, that's the daichik term, because there's a steer of psukim. That's what we have to say is the pshat. Okay, I hope it was understandable, but it's kachim. That's what we're going to be doing for the next while. I hope we'll try and make it understandable. All right.
Shukayach.
Good night, everybody.
Mazel tov.
Have a safe drive home.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You can send pictures of the Sefer Torah?
I don't have the Sefer Torah. I mean, I'll send somebody to send you the picture. You want to see the Aron Kodesh?
I want to see the Aron Kodesh.
Yeah, I want to see all that.
It's right behind you, no?
Holy mother!
Whoa, show it. We're quiet. I can't see it. You started talking. One second.
There's a lot of bling on there.
Was it? It's in a glass thing.
Hold on. It's a bigger version of menora.
Oh, it looks the same thing. It's bigger than you. It's the same cover.
Same, yeah. Well, the same guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Hey, there you go.
Rabbi.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Harold.
Quick question. My daughter has a question on her test I don't know the answer to.
Oh no! Now you're putting me on the. Okay, go ahead.
They in the Beis Hamikdash they couldn't cut the stones with a metal object. What did they use?
Right. Oh, that was Mamash. Wasn't that in the Daf? A few days ago. Was that in the Daf, or did they have it someplace else?
Possible.
The Shamir. It wasn't in the Daf. No. The Shamir, the worm. Yes, it wasn't in the Daf.
Yes, it was.
We had it with something. Either in the morning or we had it at the Daf. We had it with something.
I had to be in. You sure it's not the Daf? Shamir, Shamir, Harold.
I think it was in the Daf.
Shin Mem Yud Resh. It was a worm that cut through the stone.
Thanks, Rabbi. My daughter thanks you also.
Yaakov, we had that. We just had that the other day. We were talking about diamonds, cutting through diamonds. What comes first?
We did, right? I'm telling you, it was
yes, we had it.
Where?
We had it. The shamir, the whole question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The diamond, how did you cut a diamond without the first diamond?
We had it with tongs. We had it with tongs. Making the tongs, I think, and the first tongs or something.
Right, how'd they make the first tongs?
Right. Yeah, but that wasn't the shamir. That was something else.
Shamir wasn't brought there.
I think we discussed it.
Somebody brought the shamir there.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me take out the Gemara again. Hold on. Harold, look what your daughter did to us over here. Is he still there?
Still here.
There you go. Look what your daughter did over here. Bring up a bit of chazar. Hold on. Where is it? It was at the end of the last parak, right?
I think it was 2 nights ago. 2 or 3 nights ago.
Well, the Tzavsa Kamaisa was Nundalid. We had rubbing 2 stones together to make fire. We had the first Tzavsa. I don't think we had a Shamir.
I would not remember that if we didn't have it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We had it right after that with the tongues. I think it was.
It wasn't one of the 10 things that was created.
Oh yes, it was. Yes. And that was that same night as the.
7 lines down on Nun Daled Amud Aleph.
Mem Daled?
Nun Daled.
How many lines down? Who said that? Benjamin? How many lines down?
7. Yitzi. 7 lines down Nun Daled Amud Aleph.
Yitzi?
Do I have a different
On Mem Daled or Nun Daled?
Nun Daled.
7 lines down. 2, 4. The Shamir?
Yeah,
Nun Daled Amud Aleph? Oh.
Yeah.
So that's where that stones were created.
Afa Ayel Shamir.
Where is it? 7
Oh,
lines
wide
down?
lines. 7 wide lines.
7 wide lines.
I'm sorry, 7 wide lines.
Oh, there it is. Right, beautiful.
Yeah.
Very good. See it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Taka. We taka. Look at that.
Maybe they're learning the Daf and tag.
Yeah, maybe. Harold, what's a Nun Daled? It's how many blot ago? 7. Tonight was Samach?
5.5, 6.
No,
yeah.
tonight was 6 blot ago. 6 blot
Tonight
ago.
was on test.
There you go. Okay, 6 blot ago. Okay, 5 blot ago. Okay, not bad. Not bad episode. Remember something. Harold, thank you, daughter, for the chazar.
Thank you.
Anyways. All right.
Have a good night.
Gershon, you got the Amud today for everything?
Almost, yeah.
Oh, you didn't get all the Amud?
No.
Okay. You showing. Kaddish?
No, it's not the end of the world. Kaddish, yeah.
Okay. At least that. All right. Neshama's open Aliyah.
Amen.
All right. Fine, fellows.
Yeah.